You've just had an argument, and you're replaying it, not to understand what happened, not to figure out where it went wrong. You're building a case. Every point you made that landed well, every moment they contradicted themselves, every piece of evidence that confirms you were right. The verdict was reached before the trial began. Your brain does not weigh the evidence and then decide. It decides first. Then it goes looking for reasons to back that up. Psychologists have a name for this. They call it motivated reasoning. But what matters is this. It happens before you're even aware it's happening, before you've sat down to think it through, before you've properly heard the other side out. The judge listens to both sides and then decides. The lawyer already knows the verdict and finds the evidence afterwards. Your brain is almost always the lawyer. Most people never notice they're in a courtroom. And yet, the proceedings are constant. Think about how quickly you form an opinion about someone new. Not a careful assessment. The first impression. The gut feeling in the first few seconds. Everything that comes after. The conversations. The time together. The things you observe gets filtered through that first read. Information that confirms it passes easily. Information that challenges it gets reframed, gets explained away, gets quietly set aside. Not because you're being dishonest, because that's just how the system works. The brain isn't a neutral machine that weighs things fairly. It is an advocate, always, quietly, arguing for whatever it already believes. The new information doesn't change its position. It gets shaped to fit the verdict instead. But here's the part most people miss. The smarter you are, the stronger this pull can be. Intelligence doesn't make you less likely to do this. In many cases, it makes you better at it. A sharper mind is better at building arguments, better at finding supporting evidence, better at knocking down anything that gets in the way. Your ability to think clearly gets used to defend conclusions that weren't reached clearly at all. You can be very intelligent, genuinely wrong, and completely unable to see it because your own reasoning is protecting you from the truth. The lawyer doesn't get worse when the case is weak. They get more creative. You can see this whenever someone gets corrected on something they care about. Show them evidence that contradicts a belief they hold. In theory, they update. In practice, many don't. Some push back harder than before, because the contradiction doesn't feel like new information. It feels like an attack. And when something feels like an attack, the response is defense, not reflection. The lawyer doesn't stop when the other side makes a good point. The lawyer finds a way around it. The goal was never to find the truth. The goal was to win, and winning feels exactly like being right. That's what makes it so difficult to catch yourself doing it. There's a quieter version of this running in the background every day. The story you tell about yourself, why you are where you are, why things haven't worked out the way you hoped, why the people who let you down were wrong to do it. These stories feel like honest reflections. They are not. They are closing arguments, built up slowly over time to make sense of conclusions you reached a long time ago. The brain edits the story as it goes. It removes the parts that complicate things. It keeps the parts that confirm them. Not because it's trying to deceive you, because a clean story is easier to live with than a complicated one. And we carry those stories for years without ever stopping to ask who wrote them or whether they were ever actually true. None of this makes you dishonest. It makes you human. This is not a flaw. It's just how the brain works. Built to protect your sense of self. Built to keep the world feeling consistent. The cost is that changing your mind becomes genuinely hard. Not impossible. Just hard. And the first step toward anything more honest is noticing the moment when you stop looking at the evidence and start winning an argument that only exists in your own head. That's not a character flaw. That's the default. If you want to notice these patterns sooner, subscribe to Pattern Default. Same calm, same questions worth asking.